This is one of those laws that has decided a game at the highest level. But when anybody that watches it, even including Real Madrid fans and Real Madrid players, would admit that it was such an unfair way to get kicked out of the Champions League.
Didn't look. I don't see. For me, those who are trying to see it are seeing something that doesn't exist. I didn't see it.
But Courtois said he was the one that saw it and alerted the referee. Before the referee too then alerted VAR to check. And VAR to check and said that he has touched the ball twice. So if Courtois standing there 12 yards from the ball could see it, why can't 30 cameras see it?
From everything we've seen, there's no way you could have seen it.
You
could have suspected.
Are you really going to
trust? He said he alerted the referee.
Because he suspected.
Yes.
So
no, this thing usually happens when players slip. You get it. So for a goalkeeper who has just been scored, who is desperate, can just say, "Oh, I saw something. Check."
Right.
And if he's lucky, VR will see what didn't exist, like what happened on Tuesday.
Yeah, because he was lucky.
He was lucky. But personally, I didn't see it. I've looked at different. In fact, there was one particular angle that looked like something, but when I compare it to all the different angles, I personally think it was unfair. And I understand why Atletico Madrid are.
Wait, you are being serious here? You don't think there was a touch?
I don't think there was a double touch.
I mean, I saw not even the UEFA video.
That's the one they released.
Yes.
That's the one I see that when I saw it, it looked
like the ball just about moved a little bit.
Yes, but
it's inimical movement.
Yeah, you see, so I don't know if it was his other foot that caused it to move like that, or Julian has.
It could even be the ground. As he planted the foot, and the ground was shaking.
It will shake. The guy is a baller, so he can manipulate the ball like that. But look, we've seen this thing happen before. I'm saying that I didn't see it, but even if it happened, I think it was accidental, and that's what I don't agree with. And
why don't you agree with?
Look, let's
punishing accidental incidents. I mean, I don't get that.
Let's look at the principle of the penalty. The penalty is there to punish the defending team for an offense. So if you're a defending team and you commit an offense in the penalty box, the attacking team is given a penalty.
Yes, but this is a shootout. Well,
I'm saying
you're establishing the principle. Go on.
Thank you. So if the attacking team is going to take their penalty kick and the attacker slips accidentally, and based on that, the ball hits his other foot, causing a double kick. Why is he punished for that? The logic doesn't.
Because it's against the law. Until the law is changed, he should be punished for it.
We are questioning the reason behind the law.
That's fair.
Yes.
That's a different conversation.
Uh-huh.
But I'm saying that how does that then?
You asked two questions.
Okay, so you've answered the first one.
Yes.
You don't think it touched.
Then you also said that that's the.
So now go to the second. Okay,
so that's what I'm answering the second.
So you're on the second part. Yeah. Okay, cool.
And I'm saying that the logic behind the rule doesn't really. I don't think it agrees with this situation, because the rule was set to prevent the attacking team from having an advantage. If you go back, there were times where people would hit the ball against their other foot intentionally. And that one, when the person does it, you can see it's intentional. Mm-hmm. In fact, if you remember, there's this famous pass Henry gave in the Premier League to Robert Pires on the right-hand side. He hit the ball on his left foot and then it diverted. It's a skill that footballers, Ronaldinho used to do. If you give me the ball, I can show it to you right now. They hit the ball against their other foot and it changes direction. Yes. That is a skill. And when a player does that intentionally, you can see it is intentional.
I don't even think that skill was why they introduced that law.
Yes, in fact. So those times, penalties, you could pick the ball up from a certain range, touch it a couple of times, run at the goalkeeper and hit it inside.
Yes.
You could move the ball.
That one, it used to be from the center though.
From the center though. But when they put the penalty strictly on the spot, 12 yards, it was one kick.
Yes.
So just to eliminate players attempting to move it forward,
they
said one kick. So that's the logic behind the rule.
Yes.
Not that somebody will even do that skill, not that somebody will accidentally kind of slip. So if the thing is accidental and it's clearly disadvantages the attacking team, if anything, that the attacking team should be made to retake it.
Yeah.
That's the only logical thing to do, because it wasn't intentional, clearly. And if you say that as a result of the accident, he touched it twice unintentionally, then let him retake. It's that simple. I don't see why it should be struck out as a miss because of, you see. And again, if you tackle the logic, if you say it's a miss, then you are inadvertently saying that he intentionally did it, or he tried to gain advantage by doing that, which is not true. So if we admit that it is an accident, then why isn't he allowed to retake it? For example, if a player is coming to kick a penalty kick and the wind blows and he moves the ball slightly, they are asked to retake the kick.
Yeah.
Or exactly. Why is it
Because
that
it's not his fault.
it's not his fault?
And the slipping too is not his fault.
It's also not his fault. And again, look, when you look at
But that's not the only instance where accidental issues are punished in football. So many accidental things are punished in football, and they're never asked to redo them.
look,
So like you said, an accidental slip could end in a bad challenge, and you still get sent off.
yes, you see, that I understand. That's why I say, you see, for this one, we are applying logic. An accidental slip can cause a bad challenge, but that one, you can't take away the damage that has been caused to the opposition.
An accidental slip can give you advantage to score.
That's how one will go.
Yeah, don't do
No,
that.
but-
Because you can slip and the ball could go in a certain direction that it wasn't. Because why do we call it accidental?
No, you see,
you didn't intend it to be
Friends,
like that.
this is an
so the
accident-
direction of the ball could
Friends.
also be termed accidental.
The example is a bad one. This accidental slip is causing an offense. That's the thing. You get it?
I don't understand.
If I accidentally slip and my head hits the ball, my head hitting the ball is part of the rules. So that example doesn't tally. But if you say the ball accidentally hits my hand, you get it. Then we can have a conversation, because that's a closer example to an accidental slip causing.
So down to the accidental handball penalty. You didn't intend to catch the ball, but it touches your hand, penalty. And nobody says, let's re-kick the ball again, and then you can rearrange your hand.
No. You see, this is a controlled circumstance.
Yes.
It's a controlled, it's like a penalty kick. The ball is there, you are asked to kick it. And what I'm saying is that we have seen, because of the use of this rule, over the years, and in fact, it's becoming very frequent, we have seen opposition teams, after they concede penalties, deliberately mess up the penalty spot.
Yes.
Because they know that it can cause the kicker to slip and cause this accidental kick, or probably
Not just
kick
only slip and the positioning of
The
the ball
position of
can
the ball-
change direction
Exactly.
when you kick it.
So it is teams who are now using that thing, this very funny rule, as an advantage. And for me, it's not fair. It's not fair because, again, going back to the principle of the penalty, it is supposed to be an advantage for the kicker. So if it turns around and because of circumstances that are outside the kicker's control, or as a result of the poor pitch, or there is raining, or something happens and he slips and he accidentally kicks it twice, why can't he retake it? Especially if it doesn't cause any harm to the goalkeeper, it doesn't cause any harm to anything. Why can't he simply retake it? You look at the rule of encroachment. If I'm kicking an opposition team member enters the box,
Encroaches.
doesn't even distract me in any way, and I miss, I'm asked to retake it. But
If I slip,
and my leg accidentally touches the ball, they are striking it out as a miss. Like, it's really not consistent. And I'm happy that UEFA has looked at it. In fact, the fact that we are even talking about this thing, the fact that the world has entered a deep conversation as a result of what happened to Alvarez, it just shows, and UEFA have also decided to make a
They said
petition
they'll
to
talk to
IFAB
FIFA and
IFAB. Then it means that they've understood. The only thing that worries me is that, why did they have to get here? Because when it happened to Mahrez, people raised concerns, but it was only Leicester City, so people didn't really care. When it happened to Mitrovic, it was only Fulham, so people didn't care.
Sevilla.
You mentioned the Sevilla example, it was only Sevilla, so people didn't care. This time, it's a Champions League round of 16 game, big one, Madrid derby, high profile, it has happened, and now all of a sudden, rules have to change. When this thing happened, it should have been tackled long ago, or wouldn't have been here. But I'm sure that they will make the right decision going forward, because this thing is very unfair. And it's
you
very
know, this rule also exists in golf. When you're putting,
Pep referenced it.
yeah,
In
you
2016.
cannot touch it twice.
yeah.
You know, you accidentally, like when you are trying to measure and you accidentally hit it small, or
podcast.
That's it. But you see, it's a very interesting perspective that you've introduced into the whole conversation. Because what are the options? So let's say you slipped, which is accidental, but you scored. Between that being struck out as a miss and a retake, any player would choose the retake any day instead of fighting for the goal. Yes.
If he slipped, then it was a double touch.
Yes, exactly. Like in the average situation, because clearly there are instances where, look, another conversation that could even be extended, in my opinion, would be, and I'm glad you mentioned the issue of, let's say, deliberate messing up of the penalty spot affecting the penalty taker.
Yeah.
But that instance, for example, could also be referenced even in other instances where the kicker slips and misses, but there's no double touch. Because if he slips and misses, what in that circumstance is his fault?
No, you don't get. That's
No, with no double touch.
Yeah.
No, I'm just making another example.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The issue here is the slip causing an offense.
Yes.
If the slip doesn't cause an offense, then we move on. If I slip and my head hits the ball, or I was running and I slipped and I fell and the thing deflected off my chest and it entered the pool, it's my lucky day. But if I slipped, this example, last season, no, it was this season. Hey, the season chair. Zegzi, Man United against Brighton. If you remember, Zegzi had already slid into motion. He was already in motion, was out of frame. He was going where he was going. He couldn't stop himself. And the ball hit him and it entered the post. It literally hit his leg on the line. But because he was already in motion, he couldn't stop himself. The ball, which was already entering the net, hit him and the goal was ruled out for offside.
Yeah.
You see, examples like that. That is something he didn't intend to do. It was very obvious that he didn't intend to do. He didn't intend to touch the ball. But unfortunately, the leg had already been planted. It was already in motion. And the ball, which was literally on the line, if his leg wasn't there, it would have entered. We could all see that the thing would have entered. But it touched him and then he entered the pool. That is an accident leading to an offense. So that one, if you are using that as an example, then we can weigh the pros and cons and maybe have a conversation. But if it's just basically an accidental slip that leads to, so if once it doesn't lead to an offense, then I don't think that's a good enough example. This time around, the slip led to what UEFA says an offense. I didn't see it as an offense because I saw one touch. I didn't see two. I saw one and I saw a very good goal. But unfortunately, it was ruled out for the offense.
I think that that every now and then in football, an incident happens, it becomes a watershed moment, a game-changing movement that sparks a law change. Sometimes so many laws are there, they just exist. They've never been really, really tested. This is one of those laws that has decided a game at the highest level. But when anybody that watches it, even including Real Madrid fans and Real Madrid players, would admit that it was such an unfair way to get kicked out of the Champions League.
And for me, the example that Daniel just gave, the Zegzi situation, it just opens up a whole can of worms because I think IFAB and UEFA need to be using their protocols more.
Okay.
So every season, we have the rule book as we know it, the various provisions in this case, Article 14, Section 1, which clearly spell out what referees ought to do. But there are also protocols that are given to the referees that are not specifically in the rule book. So the referees are told that when you see this, do this. Even though there is not a specific law or there is not a specific provision that makes a certain conduct a crime or an offense, in this case. So I'll give you an example. A few years ago, after the World Cup, the Premier League decided that players and clubs were taking an inordinate amount of time out of the real game time. So if you waste 10 minutes, the protocol was, so there was no rule, but they were given the protocol that if players waste 10 minutes, make sure we're doing 10 minutes of additional time.
Okay.
And it helped to an extent. Those things are not always instituted or they are not implemented in perpetuity.
Okay.
So it is for a period. After it serves its purpose, then we move on. There are also scenarios where you have to review things and say that, you know what, let's actually change the law and not
Right.
just the protocol. Right. I'll give you another example of the protocol use.
Okay.
At the start of the season, we saw players delaying restart of the game after free kicks, after fouls, and the likes. And referees were given the protocol that when a player does that, show them a yellow card.
Right.
After a while, they themselves come to the realization that, you know what, excessively implementing this will look silly.
Yeah.
But it has served its purpose. Players are no longer doing that, so let's revert back to type. But as I said, there are situations where the protocol itself is not enough. Because if you want to say that we should use the protocol to interpret the law, then you would have to expand and almost insist on the discretionary power of the referee.
Right.
Because they will see the protocol all right, but a lot of them will revert to type and implement the regulations to the letter of the law, completely discarding the spirit of the law. In this case, there has been one case that nobody mentions from 2016 when the Marais incident happened. There was another one in Scotland where a referee decided to use his discretionary power. It was a match involving Aberdeen and St. Mirren. Bojan Majowski, he slipped. He was a player for Aberdeen. He slipped. There was a clear case of a double touch. VAR flagged it. It was reviewed. But the referee allowed the goal to stand. Because in his wisdom, Bojan Majowski slipped. It was purely accidental. The player had no control of that situation. So even though there was a clear offense there, his explanation in that episode was that the player was not in control of the direction of the ball. There was no basis to establish that.
In other words, there was no advantage gained from the slip.
But also, there was a second component of that law. You see, it talks about the player not permitted to make two touches.
Right.
The other aspect in this case is the fact that the ball clearly has to move. And you see, this is where I always tell people, when it comes to the implementation of the law, we cannot insist on the letter of the law only when it suits us.
Right.
If you say that, it was a double touch, so chinchina, the referee has to disallow it, then by the same token, we are also permitted to point out the fact that the law does not give room for ambiguity. It says clearly that the ball has to move clearly. The word clearly is in the article 14.1.
From the first touch to the second.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ball, it has to be clear.
This wasn't clear.
This wasn't. This was not conclusive. So, for us, and here's the thing. When some of these things happen, we cannot use hindsight analysis. We cannot, with the benefit of hindsight and having seen it maybe 16 hours later, now come and say that the referee made the right call and that his call should have reflected. Referees are allowed to be human. So in that moment, if the incident was not conclusive, let it go.
The goal should have stood.
Look, I have maintained repeatedly that the law needs to change because it is unfair and the punishment for that offense is not commensurate. It doesn't tally with the offense itself. Because, and I'll use the logic of the spirit behind a goalkeeper moving off his line and the punishment that is prescribed for that.
Yeah.
When a goalkeeper moves off his line and the player scores, it stands. When the player misses, the decision or the outcome of the player's attempt is not reversed, but rather it is struck out. If a player misses, the outcome of that effort is not reversed, it is struck out. If it is reversed, it would mean that even though the player missed, the decision is that now it is a goal. But that is not what happens. It is struck out. And then the player is allowed to retake it. Now, in that situation, the retake is not an advantage to the player because the original conditions for a penalty kick are recreated. So the goalkeeper still is at liberty to stand anywhere on the line. He's allowed to move anywhere on the line. It is the same distance to go. The player is allowed one touch. The run-up, the fact that you cannot stutter and then deceive the goalkeeper by putting your foot over the ball. All of those things are in place. So we cannot say that because the referee has allowed or instructed a retake, the player is at an advantage or the goalkeeper is at a disadvantage. No. Because over there, the wisdom of asking the player to retake is that you do not want the goalkeeper to gain that unfair advantage. If he moves off his line, the distance between him and the ball becomes smaller. So he gains a certain advantage. But the player is not able to move the ball back. Unlike a free kick. You know that for normal time, when the game is actually in play and there's a free kick, you are at liberty to move the ball further back. You only are not allowed to take it forward.
Yes.
You can take it further back if you are minded to. But for penalty kick, the spot is fixed. So if a goalkeeper moves forward, you cannot take the ball back. So when the goalkeeper creates that offense, yes, it is an offense, but the punishment should not create an advantage for the other player. That is why they do not ask the goalkeeper to step further back into the goalpost. But they recreate the same conditions for everyone. So it is not an advantage. I'm saying that by the same token, if a player slips and makes a double touch
And scores.
strike that effort out. Don't reverse the outcome. Because if the player scores and then you say that you have reversed the outcome, you are by that decision changing the outcome of that to give the advantage to the goalkeeper.
Which is unfair.
So punish him, all right, but let that punishment be commensurate. And the only commensurate punishment is striking it out and asking for a retake.
Simple.
If I score a penalty and you ask me to retake it,
Yes.
is that not a disadvantage to me because the first one I scored and now there's no guarantee I'll score again?
No.
If you double kick,
If you double kick it,
Accidental.
Accidentally.
I still scored.
And scored.
It's not my fault, but I've scored.
yeah, but you say it's an offense. Just like the principle he's given
Okay.
of, and the president is given of a goalkeeper who comes off his line and saves.
Yes.
You retake it.
Yeah. What if you miss it? You miss. What if you accidentally slip and miss? Per the logic that you made earlier about
If you
accidental
miss,
slips should be made to be retaken. If you slip and miss, we should let and do a double touch, of course, and then you miss. We should let you retake it.
no.
Why not?
No.
Because hold on. Because whether you scored or
see-
you missed,
you
hold
see-
on. Whether you scored or you
I know where you are getting.
and
at.
so let me get there. Whether you
It's
scored,
not controlled by you.
yes, and whether you scored or you missed, if you accidentally slipped and touched the ball twice, you have committed the offense.
Okay, I'm going to answer with a question.
Whether you missed it or you scored, if you accidentally slipped and touched the ball
I'm going
twice,
to answer with a question to you.
Okay.
First. Luzhniki Stadium,
yes,
17 years ago.
yes.
Do we then say that?
It was 17 years ago.
Wait, 2008 was 17.
Bro! I am joking.
Oh, how?
Yeah.
Hey! Charlie, you didn't go on.
You did joke.
Charlie,
No, but
take format
seriously,
talk.
it is
That
not.
2008 was 78 years.
It is not occurring to me that
17 years
it's been
ago.
that.
So
It's been
somebody who was
that.
born in 2017.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
It's not occurring that it's been that long.
Ah, but I was at the university. Oh.
So now you're somebody's grandpa.
Hey! Man U versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Why?
Makes sense.
That John Terry miss. And in fact, every other miss where, be it slippery conditions or not, excessively slippery conditions or just minimally slippery, someone slips, right?
They didn't touch the ball twice.
They didn't
so-
touch the ball twice and then misses. Would you advocate by the same logic now that they should be allowed to retake it?
I should be asking that question.
No, you are.
They didn't touch the ball twice,
I'm
so
just-
there was no offense there.
I'm just trying to.
I'm saying that my question was relates with regards to
The double
committing
touch.
an
Yes, and I'm
offense.
saying to you
but
that-
slipping and
Yes.
missing without touching the ball twice, there's no offense there.
I'm saying to you that we should deal with it for what it is and not expand it to absurd realms.
No, that's why I've not extended it to
Yes.
situations like the John Terry one. I've only
If you-
limited it to the same scenario but different outcome. So you accidentally slip, touch the ball twice, you score. Daniel says in that case he thinks the rules should be changed for them to retake it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, fair enough. What if you accidentally slip and miss? You've committed the same offense.
Yeah.
But what should be the
But you
outcome for
gain
that?
no advantage. So so that is why I kept mentioning the spirit and the letter of the law.
Yes.
The spirit of that law, which is in
If you
layman's
scored,
terms,
what was the advantage that you have to
the
beat?
spirit of that law, which in layman's terms is the reason behind that law, is to ensure that again there is no advantage in the
Gained.
conditions
Yeah.
that lead to the sport.
I
kick.
accept.
So
I accept
if you slipped and
Touched twice.
you touched twice,
Score. He said we should be made to retake.
yes, but you miss. By that offense, didn't create any advantage for you. So there is no
so
reason
be
why
it.
you should
Yeah.
take it.
By scoring, what advantage did he create for you? Then?
But I scored a goal.
So the accidental slip is what made you score.
No, you don't understand.
I guess it. I guess it. Let's move on. I get it.
I'm just saying that the law, it is there to cure any unfair advantage that is created by virtue of breaking the law.
I guess
In
it.
fact, even if you are not breaking the law, but you are circumventing it, that's why they say that for those who starter in their run-up, if you fade, you do the fake shot, right? And the goalkeeper moves. Before now you come back and then you take a swing at it and then you score. You may not necessarily have broken the law, but you've circumvented it. And so it will strike out. It will not
Like
count.
what should have happened at the 2022 World Cup? The first penalty against Hugo Lloris. It was an offense, but it's cool.
You see,
I've seen people bringing it back.
You've seen it.
But on a level,
It was an offense, but it's
that
okay.
incident is the reason Mbappe was so sure that something had gone wrong here.
He kind of
He kind of.
this guy.
So, Charlie, long story short,
Yes.
the whole thing is there to prevent any advantage that is gained, right? And in the shootout, that's why even for the goalkeeper, when he moves off his line, he's not shown a red card immediately.
Yes.
You get me? Their default instinct is to restore the natural order and the conditions that have been specified in the laws for a penalty shootout. If someone gains an unfair advantage, you just ask for
So
a retake.
you also think the law should be reviewed?
It has to be reviewed.
Okay.
And you see, there was something Daniel mentioned that I wanted to touch on briefly. Because this law has not, IFAB and, in fact, UEFA and all of these leagues have not been very proactive. Players have started adopting crude measures in preventing this particular thing. So Daniel mentions the fact that players will go and stomp at it. What the attacking teams do to prevent that is that on Thursday we saw it. Mazraoui went to stand by the spot kick to protect it, to protect the spots. And it is not, we've seen this happen a million times where a team wins a penalty and one member of the team is designated to go and stand on that spot.
Strong boys will
go and stand there and prevent anyone from coming to mess with that specific spot. The players have seen it. They have made adjustments to it for about a decade now. The IFAB
But the law is
modification, it should have happened a long time ago.
Okay. Daniel mentioned something else earlier that I just wanted to avert your minds to and provide some clarity on, which is the penalty box invasion. You know, and I think you after you mentioned it, you might have said that it doesn't give advantage to but it's a law.
He said even if
I said
it doesn't distract,
the
even if
two.
the player,
So,
sometimes the player doesn't.
So that's
see,
what I'm saying. So the purpose of the penalty box invasion being a crime or an offense, being an offense.
Rebound.
Exactly. Because if the defending team's players are first to run into the box, they will be
clear
the
it.
first to clear any rebound. And that is an unfair advantage to them.
Yeah.
So the law is equal advantage. So you all stay. When he takes it, and you all run.
Yeah.
But if you invade the penalty area, you get there too close, you'll be the first to. So that, for me, that's the spirit of that particular law about the penalty box invasion. Lots of messages on the live. That's the advantage of having a live. Koftam has joined the stream and is giving it to you, Danny
But
K.
even that law, I have an issue with
Another issue. Tell me.
Encroachment.
because if you read it well, if your teammate encroaches and you miss, the miss stays, but it doesn't tell us if that encroacher gets to the rebound and he scores, what will happen? Do you get it?
If the keeper
If he
panics
doesn't
it.
fully explain that.
Yeah, they say that if the opponent encroaches and you miss, you retake it.
Yeah.
But if it is your own teammate who encroaches and you miss, the miss is a miss. But if the encroacher scores the rebound,
It will be ruled out
That
because
is
the VAR will check
That is
the point
also
at which they moved.
yeah. That's also part of Law 14. Law 14 is the penalty kicks. That's why the Julian Alvarez one falls under it.
And
That's
the
14-1.
Yeah.
The general penalty kick law is Law 14. Okay. And it talks about all the circumstances that must exist. Then it goes to 2.0, offenses and sanctions. And the offenses and sanctions are there. To take a penalty, okay, it is an offense if once the referee has signaled for a penalty kick to be taken, the kick must be taken. If it is not taken, the referee may take disciplinary action before signaling again for the kick to be taken. In other words, if you delay in taking the kick after he has whistled that take it, he can give you a yellow card.
You see, that one too doesn't make sense. Because do you remember Paul Pogba's run up?
No, that one he's doing it.
You start. No,
he's doing it. No, the other one is that maybe they've done pay. Now you are going to argue with another player.
No, you are just standing there.
Or you are just standing
Pogba
there.
will do.
But Pogba, he's running.
He's not running. He's jogging
He's
on the
stopping.
spot and slowly moving. Sir, before you eventually take the kick.
It is an offense if before the ball is in play, one of the following things occur. Okay, one of the following things occurs. It's an offense in a penalty shootout. If a teammate of the player taking the penalty kick is penalized for encroachment, he said a teammate of the player taking the penalty kick, so your own teammate, is only penalized for encroachment if only the encroachment clearly impacted on the goalkeeper. That is the only way that your own teammate's encroachment is an offense. It means before the kick, you can do speed and run inside. So long as the referee decides and determines that it doesn't
affect the goalkeeper.
So
if
it's
the keeper
okay.
didn't look at him, or if the keeper didn't make adjustment to
this law.
For his
So why are the attacking teams not take advantage?
So that bit is too ambiguous.
Can you imagine?
In fact,
How do you determine
whether it affected the keeper or not?
in fact, if you go back, the
keeper says it affected me. Then you referee to say it didn't affect you.
Do you remember that penalty that Kohia and his brother did? No, Barcelona, where Kohia passed the ball to his brother.
Yes.
The one who scored the thing, he had encroached.
Yes.
But they took the thing.
No, but that's the point. They said it's only an offense if it affected the goalkeeper.
You see the law.
You see the law. The goalkeeper could have said he's running inside.
They didn't listen to the keeper.
But to be fair, those two touch penalties between two players, the kicker always touches the ball before the one that comes in runs in.
You don't get it. The guy had already entered the box.
But did it affect the keeper?
That's the question.
Now, it is a teammate of the player taking the penalty is penalized for encroachment only if, like I read, two conditions. The encroachment clearly impacted on the goalkeeper, or two, the encroaching player plays the ball or challenges an opponent for the ball and then scores, attempts to score, or creates a goal scoring opportunity.
But that goal was given.
You understand? Now, another condition. A teammate of the goalkeeper is penalized for encroachment only if. Now, this is where we were talking about. Only if the encroachment, this is the goalkeeper's own teammate. You are penalized for encroachment only if, one, the encroachment clearly impacted on the kicker. Okay? Or the encroaching player plays the ball or challenges an opponent and attempts to score. Okay? Now, the player of the goalkeeper, the teammate of the goalkeeper is penalized for encroachment only if, again, the player taking the penalty kick or teammate offense the following. If the ball enters the goal, the kick is retaken. So this is the conditions of the encroachment. If any of the encroachment instances happen and it is determined that there was encroachment, this is what happened. Okay? The player taking the penalty kick or a teammate, or if the player taking the penalty, or the teammate of the player taking the penalty, offense in an encroachment situation, like his run impacting the goalkeeper and that kind of thing. This is what happened. If the ball enters the goal during that encroachment process, the kick is retaken. if the ball enters. If he scores, it's retaken. If the ball does not score, the referee stops play and restarts with an indirect free kick.
Against the kicker.
Yes, against the kicker. If the kicker's teammate is the one who offended. If you score, you are asked to retake. If not, they take indirect free kick against you. Except, so you see, we have to have sympathy on the referees. They have to keep all these conditions in their minds. But because they've done it over and over again, it is natural. Except if the ball, except for the following, when play will be stopped and restarted with an indirect free kick, regardless of whether or not a goal is scored. If a penalty kick is kicked backwards, okay, they put a penalty there. Go and kick it forward and score. But you go and you kick it backwards. If you kick it backwards, indirect. Okay.
Do you know that the backwards it could be open to interpretation? Someone could take the spot kick facing their own goal.
You fool.
Yeah.
There's only one way for it.
No.
They didn't say your forehead or somebody's forehead.
Someone could take it facing their own goal. And then still score.
Do you know one of the craziest laws in football?
No.
Is the corner direct to your own goal law. What is awarded, Danike, if you go down to take a corner kick in the opposition penalty, in the opposition half, they've awarded a corner for you, but you kicked that corner directly into your goal, or you have been awarded a free kick for you
directly into your goal,
and you kick the free kick directly into your own goal. What do you think? What is awarded in that case?
Last season, when the Real Madrid Bayern thing happened, this question was asked.
Yes. The listeners or the viewers.
Is it a throw-in? Is it a throw-in that is given?
It's a goal kick.
It's a goal kick for your team.
Yes.
But it's never happened before.
It can happen.
How?
It is to prevent betting.
Ghana Premier League. That's where it will happen. Ghana Premier League.
You see, even if you have the intention to be able to take a corner kick from the opponent's goal straight into your own net,
or free kick.
Well,
free kick in your own half, then pa.
It will be so obvious.
Oh, quick. You say, I was passing back. Then pa.
Now let's talk about Liverpool.
Hey, what do you want to talk about? What did I say was awarded?
You said a
goal kick.
No. Hey, how do you kick the ball out to cross your own line? It's a goal. Corner.
It's a corner for the opposition.
Yes. So it makes sense, right? You kick the ball out of touch.
Yeah, mom.
It's good. It kills the mischief of match fixing.
It's corner. So look, if you get free kick and you are supposed to score, play the free kick towards your opposing half, and you turn around and play that free kick into your own goal, we give corner. It's basically like you've kicked the ball into touch in the goal line. Do you get the concept?
So like the pole doesn't exist.
Yeah. Thank you. You understand? So if all the young referees that are listening, if you ever go and see match fixing situation, that is what it is. Free kick for you. Then instead of you kicking towards the opposition, then you kick it into your own goal and you score. It's not a goal. It's not an own goal. It's a corner that is awarded against you. So the assumption is that the goal doesn't exist. Okay? It's to prevent people from scoring own goals and cashing out. They go and bet for themselves to score own goal. Then they'll get free kick and they'll turn around because they are doing the own goal is not coming. So I'll score it myself from a free kick. If you do that, they award corner. It's not a goal. That's a crazy law, man. But you see, again, spirit of the law kind of situation, right? Is to prevent certain situations. Anyway, okay. Altrado release a squad.
Don't do Liverpool PSG.
Okay, sorry. Before we do that, Liverpool PSG. This is Anfield.
I was pleasantly surprised.
This is Anfield. This is Anfield.
I told you people. I was sitting right here. I told you people.
And you
allow him to sing. Allow him to sing.
Hello?
And you never walk alone.
Hello?
They walked alone.
Rough.
Somebody said PSG have inexperienced players. And this is Anfield. And do you know Anfield on European nights? Yeah, we know Anfield on European nights.
I'll be the first to say Luis Enrique.
You know, Luis Enrique actually said it
That will win.
after the first
Yeah,
leg.
he said they will win.
He said they will win and that the result was so unfair, but that sometimes these things happen in football. And he's confident that if they go there, he said Liverpool, they can outplay Liverpool and beat them. And they really did.
They didn't outplay them, but
They didn't outplay them, but they beat them.
and that's where my surprise was. Look, if you remember last week, I was saying that the adjustments PSG will need to do at Anfield to be able to win that game. I didn't think Luis Enrique would do it because he's very stubborn when it comes to his approach. But I think he showed a lot of maturity. He respected the fact that it was Anfield, but he maintained his principles. The press existed, the high line existed, they suffocated Liverpool in the middle, but they were not too possession oriented in the game. They kept possession in moments where they needed to, but they also ceded possession to Liverpool to be able to exploit that high line. So Liverpool will have the ball, and the positioning and the role he gave to Dembele, Charlie.
But Dembele, when he's fit and he's happy and he's on form,
No, but the guy ball.
Huh.
Dembele was literally strolling in between the midfield and defensive line of Liverpool. And the issue was, when the forward line and the midfield went high up and they pressed, the Liverpool back line didn't support it enough. So there was a huge gap that was created, which allowed anytime PSG were counter-attacking and they picked up either Bakula or Dembele, or Kvaratskhelia, they were able to pick the ball and turn and face them, which was an issue. Now, if any of these three players turn and they face you, it's trouble. The only person who was attempting to close down the space was Konate, but he wasn't doing it enough. Van Dijk was a bit okay and satisfied with sitting back and watching it, but you can't handle them. You see, some things
Don't try to fight.
don't try to fight. They are that good. So they needed to keep tabs on them. Anytime that the Liverpool midfield stepped up to press, they needed to support that press and push high up. But they were not able to do that. But again, it wasn't like this particular game, it wasn't like PSG completely dominated Liverpool to also had their moments. And that's a beautiful thing about football. In the first 10 minutes, the game could have ended. Those two Salah opportunities, that was 2-0 and that was game done. But again, you also need to credit PSG. Same thing I gave credit for Liverpool last week. PSG also did it. You overcome that slow start, and then when you settle into the game, you make things happen.
Even at the start of the second half, Liverpool were still.
Yeah, Liverpool went. In fact,
They
I was
went
telling
after
somebody,
them.
if Trent didn't get injured, I think Liverpool could have stolen
Yeah,
that game.
the
in
start
90.
of that second half
Yeah.
was.
His introduction into midfield, that extra midfielder, the increase in terms of intensity. Liverpool were coming and then he got injured. And when he got injured, I don't think Slotto reacted well enough. What was helping him was that extra midfielder. And I thought that the substitution should have accommodated that. Get an extra body who will be able to keep that intensity. But they went back to default. And again, you have to credit PSG. The substitutions from Luis Enrique. The fact that there was a constant threat anytime the front men got the ball. And to be frank, if you look from the second half up until the end of the extra time, the clear-cut opportunities or scenarios were created by PSG. They didn't necessarily possess the ball all the time. But when they picked the ball, there was a lot of purpose to their game. And you have to credit, and this is credit to them, but it's also very disappointing from a Slot point of view. Last week, Achu made a statement about the PSG midfield. And I said that I had watched them in the group stages, especially in that game against Arsenal. In terms of keeping the ball, technical ability, they are up there. They can outplay any midfield in the world.
Yes.
But the counter to that is physicality. They can't deal with it.
I mean, look at
Arsenal
how
showed it.
well Vitinha played.
Look, you can't
You
try.
are the whole human being.
He's like this. João Neves. He's like this.
Like he gave me a lot of Verratti vibes
you know.
in that game against Liverpool.
But look, we saw that Arsenal game. Arteta knew that if you say you want to keep the ball on the floor, Partey is gifted in that. Rice can do that. But as a unit, they can't outplay PSG.
They don't even have, yes.
So physicality, they were running and booting them and kicking them and shooting. Like, that's how you get them. And Liverpool have the men in the middle to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But they wanted to play. And when you want to play, look, they will outplay you. In the middle of the park, anytime the ball got in the middle, PSG dictated how proceedings will go. So if they wanted Liverpool to pass the ball quickly, they put pressure on them to pass the ball quickly, make mistakes. When PSG picked it up and they wanted to slow and kill the tempo of the game, it's Vitinha forward, back, Paco, side, back. And I was saying this thing, let me just quickly say this thing about Salah. You remember when we were talking about the thing, no?
Ballon d'Or, no.
You remember when we were talking about the thing, no? And I said that,
What's up now?
you see, unfortunately for him, the eyeballs on him, no, and the test for his failure is a bit more than some of these. Look at it. I was
There's a problem. Oh.
at the tell situation. Vinicius Junior, that penalty where he missed, no. If like Madrid come out, Madrid come out Liverpool, make something happen for the league inside. Vinicius Junior will find his way
back into the
conversation. But Salah, it's
This
not
is-
just
you are saying that this is it.
now you get somebody in pocket 180 minutes. You can even poke your head out of the pocket. Charlie, Nuno Mendes. You don't try because Nuno Mendes. No, the boy, you know him. You know I know him. Here now we are countrymen.
Yeah.
But his defensive aspect of his game.
He had a great game.
It's not this good though.
See, his branding, he's good though. His branding suffered because of that Sancho game.
Oh, no be Sancho. But no. You see, Nuno Mendes. You know be that Sancho.
See,
before that safe, going for the guy be solid.
Yeah.
But you see, I'm not talking about the defense as in closing down and things because he has the pace to be able to close.
The 1v1 duel.
1v1 defending, no. Boga!
He had a great game. I have a question.
Oh, Salah.
In that very
No,
game,
but I have you.
Look, hold on. No, you see, Salah has always had this problem about not stepping up in the biggest games, and we've had hold on,
No,
you're
they have
not
to clarify.
listening.
Okay.
In the biggest nights of European football, give me one standard Salah performance.
Champions League 2019.
He wasn't the star man in that game.
So he should have missed the penalty. Now what did they talk?
You are such a fool.
No.
Eh.
You see, you can't change the
Easy,
goalpost when it's
No, I'm not
Champions
shifting.
League final. These big nights are about moments.
No, but
Yes,
You get
look,
it.
It's not
about the full performance.
No, I'm saying that even if it is not true, he's giving credence to the perception because he had two stinkers, like absolute stinkers when he mattered most.
you know
At least have one good game in one and then stink in the other one.
problem
How
with
do you
Salah?
have two stinkers in two big
Charlie,
home and away?
And Nuno Mendes' pocket, I've done his laundry before. The pockets, they toss you.
Charlie,
I don't understand
for
that.
him to have kept him there,
Charlie, stand. I want to use
What?
Just stand briefly. You see the medial that vent is wearing.
the weight is tight.
Yes.
That's how Nuno Mendes. You see Nuno Mendes in shorts,
Yeah.
tight like that. So the pockets, no
This is my
space, no
fault.
day inside.
So once you enter,
But Charlie, Salah managed to enter. His whole body enter. He don't know if you poke his head out there. Oh, boga.
look, you know the thing with Salah, and I hate to, and I say this not to disrespect him. Salah's problem is that he's an end product merchant.
Okay. And put that measure.
Yes. So in games like that, where, for example, Dembele is the reverse of Salah. So for Salah, if he had scored in that game, nobody would have complained about his performance. But if you watch Dembele, his end product is annoying. Very inconsistent. But the overall gameplay, Charlie, he's a baller. He will excite you. Right? Of course, at this level, functionality perhaps is the most important thing. So you look out for that. And the fact that Salah doesn't have the other aspects that Dembele and those will give us is the reason his Ballon d'Or campaign dies when his team get eliminated from the big competitions.
But he's putting up mind-blowing number in the Premier League. Why is it that the Premier League doesn't matter? It's not like the
It matters.
biggest league in the world.
It matters. That's what I'm saying. So me, watching the first league, I kept asking people, why is Dembele not in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or? Because
You
look,
think it should be?
It cannot always be about who are the biggest match winners, who has scored the most goals, because that is what Salah beat him to. But in terms of ball, Nankasa, say who is the baller among the two of them?
But let me ask you a counter question. Why do you think you are saying Dembele should be part of the conversation? What has changed about his game?
It's because he had two wonderful performances in two big Champions
He
League
said
games.
it before.
not necessarily.
He said it before.
No.
He said it because right now the guy they score, he's giving
No,
assist.
not the
He's
goals.
putting in product to his game.
Not the goals. It's the different uses that he's bringing to his team. And to be honest, we've never seen Dembele do what he did against City, against Liverpool.
He's always been like this.
No, I'm coming.
The only difference
That's-
is when
He's
he
he's
does
never
it,
available.
No, that's not that.
score the thing.
Then you want to listen. I said the different uses, right? So you explained beautifully how Luis Enrique used him against Liverpool at Anfield. That was a performance where he didn't have to score. But you could not look at that and say, Charlie, it's the only thing missing is him. Yeah, that second chance that he had, if he had scored, it would have been great. But that was a holistic performance. And I'm perhaps in the minority of people who I'm not bothered so much about the fact that he's not matching the goals of those other players. And it is unfair because right now, that is a key component and a requirement of what wins it. But I'm saying that there should be room for that because by the same people who say that your end product has to match up to a certain standard, they are the ones who will cut you off if what happened to Salah happens to you. You see the Vinicius thing that you've mentioned. In the La Liga, no, Vinicius will ball. So even if Madrid had been eliminated from the Champions League, he'll give you a lot of very exciting performances that over time, you simply cannot look beyond that or limit it to just, but how many goals has he scored? Right? Because at the base of it, all of us want to be entertained. Make no mistake.
I have a question for you. And this is just off the cast. Whichever answer comes to your mind. Who would you say is the greatest Brazilian player to ever play in the Champions League? I can help you with a few
Neymar.
names. Ronaldo, Rivaldo,
Neymar for me.
Neymar, Kaká, Ronaldinho, even Cafu or the left back Carlos. I mean, so I'm just mentioning names. Who would you say, in your opinion?
Kaká.
Kaká.
Yeah.
It's a Ballon d'Or winner, isn't it?
Not for that.
You're not. Hold on, I'm making a
Okay.
point. It's a Ballon d'Or winner.
Yeah.
For what was his greatest Champions League campaign in 2007, correct?
Yeah.
You mentioned which name?
Neymar.
Neymar. He scored one Champions League in 2015.
Yeah.
Didn't win the Ballon d'Or for that. We know the reason. And yet, despite Neymar's greatness, Ronaldo's greatness, Rivaldo's greatness, Kaká's greatness, Cafu's greatness, Ronaldinho's greatness, not a single Brazilian in the history of the Champions League has ever scored more than 10 goals in a Champions League campaign. And yet, Rafinha has scored 11 goals and we are now in the round of 16 of the Champions League. Why is he not in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or? Kaká's greatest season in the Champions League was 2007. He scored 10 goals in that campaign.
Rafinha is in the conversation.
It should be hard favorite.
You don't get branded.
Why?
I just told you why.
You don't get branded. I
That
say if
Brazilians that have had similar numbers
Taiwo.
were hard, outright favorites to win the Champions, and not just to win and they won
But-
with no argument.
Okay.
If Lamine Yamal had Rafinha's numbers, do you think he will not be in the conversation.
Fair question.
Two things. The Champions League goals thing. 2002. Ruud van Nistelrooy scored 10 goals in 6 group stage games of the Champions League. There are freakish numbers like that. But for all of those people who recorded those, it was not by itself a basis to talk about their legitimacy or their candidacy for the Ballon d'Or. If you are talking about the entire season and everything else that they've done, so maybe in La Liga in addition, maybe a case could be made.
The Champions League alone, Rafinha has been the best player in the Champions League up until this point. Which player has been better?
I'm saying to you that
How has he been the best?
we've seen situations where others have done better than
What's
him.
really?
Friends, I'm saying to you, and I give you the
You're
example.
not serious.
Ah.
If those numbers were given by Cristiano, you will not sit here and be asking me this nonsense question.
But how is he?
If Cristiano Ronaldo scored 11 goals, top scorer of the Champions League by the round of 16, you will not sit down here and tell me
He's
that.
done it before, so don't be asking.
So don't sit down here and tell me that and ask me silly
question
question like
ask-
what makes
No, I'm saying,
Rafinha.
how is he the best player?
I just told you.
because he has scored more goals.
Yes.
Why?
He's won games. With Barcelona's back against the wall with 10 men, he produced the winner. That is what you call match-winning, game-changing moment. You all agree that football is about moment. Rafinha doesn't score the third goal in a 4-0 victory. He scores the winner
Friends, I have a question.
in a 1-0 victory.
Friends, I have
That's
a
real
question.
impact.
Friends, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Friends, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
If Salah had taken one of those chances in the game, in the opening 12 minutes, it wasn't even a chance, half chance, but because it was Salah.
That's
it was
not
a
how
chance,
Rafinha
Papa.
plays. He doesn't score and disappear.
Wait.
That's what you are suggesting would have happened in the
I'm
Salah
asking you-
situation if he scored in the first minute and disappeared.
I'm asking you that.
And they won the game. Would I say it was game changing?
No.
Go on.
Would that change your view of Salah's performance over the 180 minutes?
If what? That's the question.
If he had scored one, if he had decided this game with that one goal or two, but the performance pattern had been the same as from the first league all through, will that color your view of his
yeah, he
performance?
decided the game. Literally did.
So it doesn't matter that he stank up the place.
Brother, what's the purpose of football?
What they need? No goals.
Win. So if he scores the winning goal, in fact, if he can sleep the rest of them. I don't care.
So I'm pointing.
He can sleep.
So
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm showing
when
you a
you
flaw
when
in
you
the
make
narrative. Friends,
the game changing
So I'm showing
contribution
you a flaw in the narrative that
that.
only the match winners are the best players.
But I'm
They are
also
not
but
necessarily-
I'm also telling you that doesn't. While I agree with that premise, it doesn't apply to Rafinha because that's not what he does. It's what I'm telling you. That's all. I'm saying that I agree with what you're saying. That a match winner doesn't necessarily mean that they were the best player in the game.
If
I'm
you
saying
watch-
that doesn't apply to Rafinha. That's not what he does.
If you watch,
The guy is.
No, but on a more serious note, if Salah is off, Rafinha should be next. Too. No, it's true. Like in terms of actual performance across board, League, Cup, Champions League. If Salah is off based on performances, consistency, if Salah is now gone, obviously he's not winning the Champions League. Rafinha should be next, but the branding will reach.
this is Lamine ball passer.
Huh?
Lamine
Ball
Are you
pass.
serious?
He gives me
You
more
see,
excitement.
once again,
watching
this
him.
is a
No,
Rafinha has been Barcelona's best player.
he's been their
By
most productive
far.
player. No, he's been their most productive player. You have said that. You said
He's the go-to guy when they are in trouble.
You said you won the match winners. I'm not disputing. That's not in question.
Lamine ball pass somehow.
He excites me more than watching Rafinha. You want to see the guy who puts the ball in the back. Where is he going to?
No. Wait. So you're telling me Rafinha just scores this season? That's what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm saying between he and
Charlie, Barca fans can't tell. I feel like they watch them and ball.
between him and Lamine. Oh, bro. Lamine excites me more.
So
than-
all Rafinha is doing this season is just scoring goals.
No, I'm saying that Lamine excites me more than Rafinha in the team. The question of who is the most productive, who's the best match winner as fences, it's not up for debate.
So how do you define best?
The most exciting. That's for you.
That's the best.
Charlie,
What are you saying?
See, half the time.
so
The
wait,
things that
who is the
Rafinha-
best player in Liverpool?
Half the time.
Now, I want to ask simple questions. Who is the best player in Liverpool?
There is no best player. I'd say two players.
Who and who?
Yeah. Salah, possibly three. Salah, Van Dijk, the Dutch midfielder.
Gravenberch.
Gravenberch, yeah.
But earlier on, you just said that Salah doesn't have that excitement factor to him. So how does he excite
For
you?
if you take Salah out of the system that they play, it doesn't function.
Oh,
It doesn't mean he
you are
excites me.
changing goal. You said
I'm
for
not.
you the best player is the most exciting player.
Yeah.
That same statement
Nobody
contradicts
in that
what you
team
said.
excites me. No, nobody in that Liverpool team excites me. But I'm saying to you that even though he doesn't excite me, I recognize the fact that if you take Salah is perhaps the most important part of that Liverpool attack. If you take him out, it doesn't function. To that extent, you have to give him his flowers. But he is not someone who I'll pay to go and watch. It doesn't mean you have to disrespect the man's craft or his standing in the game, or that at the moment, if you want the guys who make it happen in the Premier League, that's him.
But so can't you say the explanation you are giving? Can't you say same for Rafinha? You are changing the thing. You're just changing goalposts. There's no consistency to what you are
Because
saying.
Barca, when things get difficult,
He just doesn't like the
Rafinha
line.
will make the run and wait for Lamin's magic for the ball to arrive.
How?
Lamine doesn't have. You know how many assists he has? Now assists in the Premier
But who says assist is the same as was?
He
is
said
what I
he
was
goes.
referring to.
He said he makes a run and waits for his ball.
For the
The
magic,
guy,
no, I said
the guy
magic. I
has
didn't say
created
ball.
more chance.
No, I didn't say no.
I will show you.
Okay.
Rafinha. You. That was
See,
I say. Hey,
before we end
Barca
this,
fans, tell the guy
before we end this
something.
conversation, I need to say this about PSG. I think that this was a performance that they desperately needed against a proper European football royalty for people to respect them. Because in the Champions League, in the last 6 years, if you take away Man City and Real Madrid, you would struggle to find a team that has been more consistent than PSG. They've made the final in that time. They've made the semis in that time. They've made the quarters. In fact, the only period where they dipped successively was the Messi's 2 years, round of 16. But apart from that, in fact, immediately Messi left, they even returned to the semis of the competition.
Yes.
But this is a team that is averaging a quarterfinal, sometimes semis appearance consecutively for the past 5 or 6 years. Clearly, they deserve some respect. Unfortunately for them, their branding has suffered because they have suffered some defeats where people felt, or people have used that to say that they're no reach. Especially that Real Madrid game. Look, for 150 out of the 180 minutes, they completely took apart Real Madrid.
Okay.
Both home and away. It was that game where Marco Verratti just decided that, you know what, yeah, Toni Kroos, I respect you, but this is not your game. He took charge of the game, absolutely bossed that game. Unfortunately, PSG messed it up in the extra time. Somehow, I think that defeat to Manchester United as well.
It wasn't extra time. You shipped them 90 minutes.
No, I think the second half, that's what I was referring to. Unfortunately, I think the reverse fixture that they lost to Barcelona, the 6-1. And then that defeat to Manchester United as well, the Lukaku and Rashford game. Those are games that have convinced people that PSG are chokers. But if you take away Real Madrid and Manchester City in the last 6 years, nobody has performed better than PSG in the competition. And for me, what they are doing this season is actually surprising because I expected that after moving on Kylian Mbappe, this project will take maybe a year or two before we start seeing this kind of performance. And in fact, they haven't played like this all season. This turn happened, I think, after November. So it's giving the impression that the project is ahead of schedule. And I love it for them. They may not go ahead to win it. They may not make the final. But I like the progress because this is exactly what we have applauded in the past. I mean, when teams have this sort of trajectory, we always say that, oh, they are on track. The Champions League, it has to break your heart repeatedly for a while before you get close to winning it. Now, at least, they are showing a clear departure from what they used to be. But the unfortunate thing is because the branding is so bad, when they make smart signings, nobody pays attention. So the Nuno Mendes, for example, William Paco, who they signed from...
Nuno Mendes probably like in his 5th season. He be OG for that.
Yeah. Paco, who they signed from Eintracht Frankfurt last year. If that kid had ended up at Arsenal or, say, Liverpool or Barcelona, he perhaps would have had more praise for his talent and more appreciation for that. But because it's PSG, we're all waiting to see is he going to sink into the lifestyle, all of the glamour there, or he's going to keep his head down? And over 180 minutes, 210 minutes, brilliant performance there. Now we're beginning to see even the players they signed around the bling bling era, Vitinha and all of these players going through rehabilitation. It is good. It gives credibility to what they are doing now. And I would hope that at least they go further than make the final.
We all know what was stopping them. We don't want to see it.
We'll see. I saw an interview from Mark Khalefi saying that it didn't really matter the outcome of this game.
Yeah.
They were always going to keep Luis Enrique, and that they love the project that he's working on. So it does tell you that the top brass of the club have a massive belief.
This is perhaps the first time they are backing a coach.
You understand?
This man. Remember the Conte interview where Tuchel interview where he said sometimes he felt like he was the sports minister of PSG.
That's a different era.
We'll see what happens. Guys,
Rafinha has scored the most goals. He has the most assists. He has created the most chances
in the Champions League.
In the whole Barcelona team.
You mean in all
The only thing
competitions?
Yamal has more than
in all competitions.
It's dribbles.
I think Yamal has the most assists in the league.
In the league, yeah, but in all competitions.
14. Yeah. But in all competitions, no one is touching. To be fair, there are other players in that Barca team worthy of a mention this season. Pedri is one.
Pedri the ball.
He's had a very, very good season.
Pedri the ball. And
as well.
Yamal,
yes, but you know,
if it's Femi, if it's Omo, whoever plays there, baller.
Yeah, man. Listen, we know the Champions League fixtures are clear. Who are PSG playing?
Aston Villa.
Man.
Smooth.
Real Madrid versus
against is smooth. His whole team.
Real Madrid.
We don't mention them.
Arsenal.
It's a walkover.
The Arsenal fans said,
you know what's annoying? I'll tell my wife today. She was like, why? She doesn't understand why everybody's like, it's written. And I said,
writing off Arsenal.
You need to understand this thing. You watch the two games. You play well. You ask yourself,
why didn't they win?
That's what you are. Real Madrid can't beat Arsenal 3 or 4. They will not whitewash Arsenal. That's why Real Madrid doesn't do their business. They give you hope.
And take it away from you.
You see the clock ticking down. You can see the next round. You can see. Then start it from you.
And they snatch it away.
Wicked team.
Man.
But I see, if Arsenal had the squad, this game is set for them.
Boga, stop.
Oh, God.
Champions League. Unless Henry comes back. No.
Anyway, so that's the lowdown on the Champions League. Inter Milan, they are looking good. No one is talking about them.
That side of the draw, we know it's set too. It's Inter versus Barca in the
semis.
semi-final. It's set. Don't worry.
You people like writing off teams.
No,
it's not about right.
See,
but it's the Champions League.
The bosses over there. The bosses over there.
Also, under Inzaghi, he's a specialist for the knockout competitions. And it's not like the performances have looked sketchy. Yeah, they will have their.
No, it's very straightforward. Like Inter have not had some like some hanging. No. It's straight. They give it to you. They
catch
go.
you. They beat you. They go.
Quick,
Very efficient.
Quick.
So Inter Milan, you have to be on the lookout for them. They could be dangerous. They meet Barcelona in the semi-final. That would be some cracking game. But also, it's football. You can never really tell. Surprises happen.
Barca today need to be careful.
Barca.
The children have exam around that time. It could cause them.
Who has their children?
There are many of them. Fermin Lopez, Kubasi.
When I say exam, I'm talking about the fixture congestion. Because
I know
the league,
I know
the cup, it could worry them.
I know. And there are many of them. Fermin, Kubasi, Lamine Yamal. Even the Baldo is still a kid. Alejandro Baldo is still a kid.
Guys, I want us to wrap up. We're talking about one game that's coming up this week. Or you want to say something about United? Let's
do our Black Stars and run away.
No. I want Blaster. I want to reserve it for our proper preview.
I need to pay tribute. Charlie.
What?
We know that we've suffered this season. Amorim, thank you for Thursday. Sexy. The ball you played on Thursday. Charlie, I don't remember the last time I enjoyed a Man United game like this. The game started in fact, we didn't watch the game live. Thursday we were having the event. But when I finished, I saw the reviews. I said I have to go and watch repeat. And I was watching the repeat like I was living the moment live. Bruno, God bless you. Amorim, God bless you. Sexy, God bless you. Hoyland, leave my team.
And Patrick Dogu, some penalty they gave him.
Oh, but it's a penalty. It was a
The
penalty.
guy just ran into the guy, touched the ball, and jumped into the guy.
It
Penalty.
was a
This
penalty.
is so rich coming from a Chelsea fan.
What do you mean?
Eden Hazard made a career of swinging his right foot
No,
into
he's
the
the
thigh of
buttocks. He's the buttock. Hazard.
He
He
used the
swing
left
his
foot. He used the left foot.
The-
for balance and then
balance.
swing
And
the
then-
right
and
into
then-
Swings the right back, then left.
and the referee whistle for a penalty for him.
Two on them was so then that's all.
Hazard.
Then you see the buttons.
Oh God. Listen. This Sunday we have a live viewing event. The Premier League trophy will be a pit stop. Okay. In Laboni. So those who are in Accra and want to come and take pictures with the Premier League trophy, they are doing a live viewing session at pit stop. It's next to the honeysuckle in Laboni for the Arsenal Chelsea game, 1:30 p.m. What's going to happen there? It's a game of no significance. What? It has significance. It's a top four, right?
The game may not be significant, but the event is.
The event is
Yes.
Premier League trophy. Everybody wants to see.
Yes, especially the Arsenal fans, because Sally, your team is not bringing it home. Someone has
the only
lost
way
it
to
home.
see it.
I was going to go easy. Then I just saw Cove Town Babes comment.
Cove Town Babes
She
is
said,
dissing you.
I can't chat with Conference League. It is Europa League, it's not Conference League. And I'm sorry, I wish you were in Ghana so that you can see the trophy. But if you like, I can send you the picture.
Cove Town Babes
I
not
was
in Ghana.
standing with the pic. I'll make a see I get a pic for ESM. I was standing with the Premier League trophy. This
Oh, Mister, I get my picture for
yeah, I
you.
was standing with zoom there. See the picture.
It is Zoom.
I do Ronaldo pose for the me and the trophy. Oh my God, look at that beauty. Damn. Oh my God. Something that Arsenal fans and Arsenal do. See, Arteta, he has not even seen it. The only time Arteta came close to touching it when he was assistant manager. That one in the new medals, if I'm not even sure they give him medal. You understand? As a coach,
All right,
Yes.
guys. Like I promise that won't be long. Let's wrap it up. Let's call it today. We'll record a session on Wednesday. Okay, it's past 10 p.m. All right, 10:30, 10:30. We'll record a preview session on Wednesday for the Ghana World Cup qualifying matches against Chad and Madagascar. The Chad game is Friday, this coming Friday. And the Madagascar game is what? Monday, I think?
Yeah.
Monday,
No,
Tuesday. Yeah, as well. 6 points in the bag. Because now we have 9 points from 4 matches. We only lost 1 game. That game, Comoros. The way you pay me, the guy is bringing the ball. Our defenders are not closing. Everybody's going back. Short goal. But we won against Mali, we won against Central African Republic.
hat-trick.
So now, if we can win against Chad and win against Madagascar, we'll go straight to 15 points
Hat-trick.
from Jordan.
It's coming.
Incoming.
It's coming.
Joe Chale. So we'll do a preview. All the guys will be here Wednesday. But now I want to say a big thank you to all of you for tuning in. We truly appreciate your time. Over 200 people tuning live. Cove Town Babe joined, stayed with the conversation throughout the whole time. Nana Kwesi Dateba, Saint Ashi, Kobe Joe, all
Yeah,
those
we
who are
see
leaving
it.
comments
Yeah, we
as
see
well.
it.
Daniel
They were fighting
Henneman.
Cove Town, baby.
Yeah.
Who they fight them?
The boys were fighting there.
Cove Town Baby. Nano, her mouth. You come there, you fight everybody.
We all will be the same.
Oh.
See who will trophy. Yeah, if the Europa say if you don't take care, we will do something. We have to
Elikam
bring them back.
Nate. I'm just giving shouts to all the commenters that I've seen. Derek
I
Apia,
reign supreme.
Irene Supreme, Yaberma, and all of you who tuned in as well. You are not leaving comments because you're busy or you're doing something else while watching. We truly appreciate you guys.
Why did you laugh?
Why is
Or
that?
say, Manu Hame.
It's true.
Remember my birthday, I did here. As you talk the thing, no. That Ohene Mensah came to reply that friends tell her.
That's
She know she sick.
oh, guys, defense as yeah, Charlie. So thanks a lot, guys. You guys are amazing. We love you. We love you guys. We appreciate you. You know, this is like a community. We love all of you
Mallams.
for always choosing. Yes, you're all chief Mallams. Okay. So we love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We had to do this because of all the busy schedule and what have you. But we'll record a proper episode to preview the game on Wednesday. That will be out on Thursday. Kaswa, you know Central Region, you don't reach yet. You go Kaswa, you go the traffic inside from Kaswa to our studio is in Hacho.
To be fair, Kaswa is a different country, so.
Alright, guys, that's it. We're back next week with a preview of the Black Stars game. Until then, do take care and cheers. Mallam Go Podcast by Betway. We're out.